Listen closely, because what you're about to hear has been whispered across centuries, buried beneath generations of folklore, and dismissed by those who fear the unknown more than they're willing to admit. Tonight, I want you to forget the postcards, the jokes, the clichés about an old monster in a cold Scottish lake. I want you to forget the memes, the tourist traps, the plastic souvenirs with big googly eyes. Because this story, this mystery, is older, stranger, and far more unsettling than most people ever realize. Let's begin with the water. Dark, cold, deeper than most imagine. Loch Ness is no ordinary lake. It isn't even just a lake. It's a geological scar carved by ancient glaciers, a trench that sinks deeper than the North Sea itself. When you stand on its edge, the surface looks calm. But underneath, it's a labyrinth of caverns, cliffs, tunnels, and trenches that humans have barely mapped. And that's important because the unknown is always where stories begin. And long before the monster had a name, long before cameras clicked along its shores, the people living here were already afraid of something in those waters. The earliest tales, some carved into stones by the Picts, a mysterious people who left behind symbols we still can't decipher, show a strange beast. A creature with a long neck, serpentine in form, unlike anything native to Scotland. These carvings don't explain, they just warn. They mark, they remember. But centuries later, in 565 AD, something happened that would echo through time. A written account of a creature attacking a swimmer. This wasn't a fisherman's tall tale whispered in a tavern. This was recorded by a monk who had nothing to gain by inventing monsters. A monk who described a water beast rising from the depths with violence. You can choose to dismiss it, but it becomes harder when you realize how consistent the descriptions remain, even across generations who never knew each other. Jump forward, slowly, through the centuries. The water stays cold, the fog stays thick. The stories never disappear, even as the world around the loch changes. And then comes the moment everything explodes into public consciousness. 1933. A new road is built along the shoreline, giving people a clear view of the loch's long surface, and suddenly the sightings multiply. One couple claims to have seen a massive creature crossing the road in front of their car. Yes, leaving the water and moving across land. Sounds insane, until you hear that at least 6 other independent sightings that same decade describe the same thing. A giant body, a long neck, a dark shape cutting through the trees or gliding through the water. Then the photograph, the famous one, the surgeon's photograph. You've seen it. The long neck, the small head, the ripples spreading outward like a warning. For decades, it was treated as undeniable proof. Scientists debated it, newspapers sensationalized it, and the world accepted that something real, lived in Loch Ness. Of course, later the photo was revealed to be a hoax. Model on a boat, a staged deception. But here's what nobody tells you. The man who admitted the hoax wasn't the photographer. He wasn't even one of the witnesses. He was someone connected to a group obsessed with proving the creature existed. Someone who might have been motivated by revenge, or embarrassment, or maybe even pressure. And his confession came decades after the fact, long after the original materials were lost, long after anyone could verify a single detail. So, was the photo truly a hoax? Or was the hoax itself the hoax? Because while the world laughed and moved on, sightings continued, every decade. Every generation. Different people, different backgrounds, different countries, even people who didn't believe in monsters, reported something large, something fast, something alive moving beneath the surface of one of the deepest lakes in Europe. And here's something else you probably never hear. Sonar scans in the 1950s, the 60s, the 70s, and even in the 2000s continue to detect massive shapes moving beneath the water. Not fish, not debris. Something large, something that can move. Scientists, of course, offer explanations. Sturgeon, eels, seals, logs, waves, shadows. Optical illusions amplified by fog and the mind's tendency to make sense of the unknown. But ask those same scientists whether the loch could hide a large creature and you'll see something surprising. They hesitate. They don't dismiss the possibility, Because Loch Ness, with its 230-meter depth and near-zero visibility, is one of the most perfect hiding places on Earth. But the story becomes even stranger when you look at the creatures science has proven to exist. Creatures thought extinct for millions of years, suddenly reappearing in modern times. The coelacanth, a prehistoric fish believed extinct since the dinosaurs, found alive in 1938. The megamouth shark, discovered only in 1976, after millions of years of being unnoticed. Entire species living in deep oceans, caves, untouched forests, surviving without humans ever knowing. So when people say Nessie can't exist, you need to ask, based on what? Human arrogance, our belief that we've already discovered everything worth discovering. And then come the modern photographs, the videos, the sonar scans showing massive objects moving faster than any known fish in the region. Some are hoaxes, absolutely. Some are illusions, no doubt. But all of them? Every single one? Not a chance. Some have details hoaxers wouldn't bother to craft. Some have movement patterns that match no known animal in the region. And some, still unexplained to this day, are quietly dismissed, buried under noise, lost to the churn of the internet. But the most unsettling part is this. The sightings are not random. They cluster, they follow patterns. They appear in cycles, often during seismic activity underneath the loch, when deep water vents release bursts of energy or gas. As if whatever is down there is reacting, emerging, surfacing when disturbed. Of course, the rational explanations pile up. A giant eel, a surviving plesiosaur, a mutated seal, a prehistoric creature trapped in an underwater cave system, or something entirely new, something science hasn't even imagined yet. But here's the truth the world avoids. We simply don't know, and humans hate not knowing. So the Loch Ness monster becomes a joke, a myth, a tourist attraction, because it's easier to laugh at the unexplained than to face the possibility that nature still holds secrets bigger than us. That we are not the absolute masters of our world, that something ancient, something that predates our empires, our machines, our arrogance, might still be lurking in the dark. And maybe that's the real mystery, not whether Nessie exists, but why the idea of Nessie scares us. Because if one creature like this can exist unseen for so long, what else is out there? What else lurks beneath the waters we assume are empty? What else slips through caves deep below the surface? What else hides not because it must, but because it chooses to? Tonight you heard the stories, the history, the hoaxes, the sightings, the science, the silence. You can decide for yourself what's real and what's imagination. But next time you stand near deep, dark water, and you feel the surface ripple for no reason, and you sense something watching from below, ask yourself one question. Is the legend hiding from us? Or are we the ones who don't want to look any deeper?